What's up, guys? Tuga here, back again, and in this episode of my Fantasy Draft Franchise Mode series here with the St. Louis Blues, we begin the Season 2 sim with very, very high expectations. Last year, didn't really know what to expect. Obviously, not sure how the team would perform, how the picks that we had made in the fantasy draft would perform, but now we have an idea of where this team is heading. And after the success of last season, because last season was very successful for us, we finished second in the NHL. Unfortunately for us, we ran into the best team and the eventual cup winner in round two. But anyway, before we get into this, we did make another move that I will address here in a moment. But I was thinking, though, too, there are certain players that could probably be power forwards. Evander Kane is one of them, but it'd probably be better to have him as a sniper. Who else was under that? There was somebody else. Oh, Zibanejad, or Zibanejad, whatever. Also a physical player. Probably better to have him as a playmaker, which, speaking of Zibanejad, we've switched him from a two-way to a playmaker, given that puck skills category. Other changes, Patrick Marleau has been switched to a right-wing playmaker. Chris Kunitz has been switched to a power forward, and Trevor Lewis to a grinder. Now there's somebody here that wasn't here as I left off at the last episode. Yeah, the end of the last episode, that's what I'm trying to say. Timo Meier, fourth line player. So he is now in the lineup, and we will hope for the best. Our defense moving forward, Sergachev, Larson, Markov, Bowie, Larson, and Miller. Markov as well has been moved to a two-way. Not too happy with his skating ability at the moment. I like two-way or I like offensive defensemen to be faster than he is. But in the AHL, we do have another fourth-line guy, Zach Nastasiuk, who is a physical force, but not quite good enough. Anyway, Timo Meier's here, which means somebody is on the outs, and that would be Andre Nestrasil, who, decent player, but comparing him to Timo Meier, it just doesn't add up. So we traded him to Nashville for Lucas Sedlak, who of course is in Chicago right now, and a second-round pick in the upcoming draft. So a lot of roster turnover. I feel like we have more potential. We have more potential with this team. But if they underperform, we could... odds are we're going to be worse than we were last year. I don't expect us to finish second in the NHL again. I'll be happy if we're a playoff team. But like I said, we do have high expectations. We should be a pretty damn good team. But anyway, let's get into the sim because we have some work to do. I want to get to the All-Star break. So let's sim the first month of the season here. And we will see where we stand on November 1st. November 1st has arrived, and we're off to a decent start. 6-3 to begin the year. Unfortunately, two big events occurred. Mika Zibanejad went down to injury, and then after our last game against the Dallas Stars, Carey Price has gone down to injury. So, somewhat unfortunate. Zibanejad out for 3 weeks, Price out for 2 weeks. Thankfully, of course, we have Brian Elliott at the moment, but we are in first place in our division. Of course, it is quite early. Jonathan Huberdeau leads the team with 8 points, and then we actually won't take a look that way. To start the year, I wanted Patrick Laine to play with Huberdeau. You guys mentioned that in the past. We really need someone for Huberdeau to, have a 1-2 punch with. I mean, we have Kane and Eichel as a playmaker and a sniper, so you have that kind of work out. So far, though, Patrick Laine, only 3 points. Michael Dal Colle hasn't done anything since being called up. But worst comes to worst, we simply swap the two right back. Chris Kunitz not doing terribly. Overall, it's nice to have the 6-3 start, but we're not up to the best start. We need some players to step up, of course, especially now, due to the absence of Carey Price, but we will see if we can overcome that. We are going to sim another month. Again, I want to get to the All-Star break and, of course, give you guys a chance to have your input. It's a pretty busy month. Thankfully, no back-to-backs. So odds are we're not going to have to start Vevalainen until or, Carey Price will be back before we have to start him, is what I'm trying to say. Let's sim to December 1st and see if we can stay in first place. As it turns out, November was not as kind to us as the opening month happened to be. We are currently 12-10 through the first 22 games of the season, and third place currently in the division. And the story, as you would probably guess, the story of our season so far has been injuries. I know a lot of people, there's been a lot of debate on whether or not we should turn down the frequency of them. It's not like I have the fucking slider set all the way up. It's just we have terrible luck. Zibanejad's only played 10 games. Michael Dowcall, of course, has played 16 because of the injury sustained by Zibanejad. Antoine Vermette, I know he's on the fourth line, but only 4 points. Come on now. Evander Kane is doing well. Jonathan Huberdeau is the most recent injury victim. Timo Meier is currently injured as well. Patrick Laine has missed some time. And defensively, Kevin Miller has missed a little bit of time. Morgan Ellis got the call. But of course, most importantly, Carey Price was injured. And that's not very good because Brian Elliott, when he had to carry the weight there, he has a 3-4 record in 9 appearances with an .896 save percentage. Vehvilainen had 1 appearance. I guess Elliott was pulled. He did fairly well. Although, while he did well, Kaigorodov played some games when Vehvilainen was called up. Yeah, that's probably the worst save percentage I've ever seen. An .822. That is god-awful. So what we need to hope for here, as we sim through December, is a little bit of stability, just a little bit of stability, and a better team doctor that can prevent some of these injuries. Now, Brian Elliott is going to have at least 3 appearances this month. We really, really need him to step up. Let's wrap up 2017, and let's hopefully wrap it up with a nice winning bow on it. Is that a good analogy? I'm not sure. I'm very nervous that we're going to end up being a bottom feeder team by the end of this month, but let's find out. 22-13-1. Consider November a little bit of a stumble out of the gate for us, but we have found our form and things are looking very good for this team right now. Again, we'll take a quick look at some stats before getting back, as we still need to sim to the All-Star break, but 45 points is currently good enough for the division lead. The injuries have settled down a bit, knock on wood, that could definitely change, but that's a big part of the reason as to why the prior month was so successful for us. Evander Kane, surprisingly, despite being a sniper, has 24 assists and only 7 goals. Again, I mentioned at the start of the episode, it might not be a bad thing to try him at power forward. He's kind of a Matthew Tkachuk type, like we had in the Nord series, where he could be either a sniper or a power forward. We will leave him as a sniper for now. Jack Eichel doing well, not lighting the world on fire, but he's doing well for us. He's in a contract year as well. That could hurt us coming up. And Patrick Laine, also a sniper, but still more helpers than goals. But he is making progress, and he is up to an 88. On the second line, Huberdeau has, of course, missed some time. He has 17 points in the year. Zibanejad has missed time, but he's doing okay. Marleau, pretty disappointing, really. I was hoping he would do better. Chris Kunitz as well, was hoping he would do better. But the good thing is we are winning, despite those 2 veterans struggling, and really despite not getting much scoring from outside of the top line, basically. Sergachev up to an 85. Larson's at an 84. No progression from Madison Bowie. We just went best lines on defense, and that is what it set it to. The big reason why we're winning. Carey Price is playing like Carey Price. Brian Elliott not doing too great. But when you have the best goalie in the game, the best goalie in the world, and he is performing to his potential, good things are going to happen. Also, Michael Dowcall up to an 82. Very, very likely to crack the NHL lineup sooner rather than later. Vehvilainen also making some pretty good progress and is performing pretty well with the Chicago Wolves. Now it is time to sim to the All-Star break and to see where this team will be at the end of this episode. We have a lot of games, though. We have a lot of games. We are basically simming to the end of the month. Brian Elliott will get at least 2 games here, either against Toronto and Montreal, and then Edmonton or LA. But this is going to be tough. We have a ton of games to play, and anything could happen. Let's find out, though. Will we still be in first place by the All-Star break? 30-17 and 2, a pretty strong record as we've reached the All-Star break. Quickly, because I don't want this episode to go on for too much longer, let's take a look at the team stats. We are 3 points ahead of the Nashville Predators for the division title lead. They have a game at hand, though. It's going to be a close race. The Dallas Stars, though, not exactly on pace to win another President's Trophy. We are the 5th, or have the 5th best record in the league. Nobody is running away with it, but right now the Carolina Hurricanes are in that top spot. Injuries have still been a bit of an issue, particularly at the AHL level. Almost at the CHL level. Particularly at the AHL level, but overall, I'm liking where the team is at right now, and we actually have a situation on our hands, and you guys will learn more about that in a second. But right now, Jack Eichel, 40 points in 49 games, not too bad. Zibanejad, 24 and 37, not too bad. Not too bad. He should break 40 points if he stays healthy. I wanted him to be around 50 or so, but not too bad. I think we'll leave him as a playmaker, although, like I said, we could test out power forward. Tyler Bozak is currently injured. He had 20 points in 45 games, which is not terrible. Vermette at 14. He has played in all 49 games. Now, situation number 1. Michael Dowcall is up to an 83, still listed as a depth forward. But it is very obvious, if you look at every other category aside from defense and physical, he is an NHL player. So what do we do? Do we get rid of Tyler Bozak? Do we get rid of Antoine Vermette? Who do we get rid of to make room for Michael Dowcall? Because I think he has to stay on the main roster, especially knowing what he turns into and what we've seen him turn into in other series. Evander Kane's played every game so far. He has 34 points. Huberdeau, 31 and 39. Not too bad from him. Chris Kunitz has been tremendously disappointing, really, and perhaps he is somebody we could move out to make room for Dowcall and just see what we could get for Kunitz. He is an 87, but 17 points in 49 games on the third line. You'd kind of expect better. Even though he's on the third line, you would expect better. Timo Meier on the fourth line, he has missed some time and he only has 4 points, but I'm willing to forgive him, seeing as he is a low elite potential. Patrick Laine, 35 points in 47 games. Marleau, 27 points in 49 games. Not great. And now that I think of it, maybe we could package Kunitz and Marleau and go out and get a strong right wing. That would make room for Dowcall on the left side and could potentially get us an improvement over Patrick Marleau on that right side. Sam Gagner, 17 points in 49 games. Trevor Lewis with 14. Defensively, we also have the situation. Sergachev has 24 points, not too bad. Andrei Markov is currently hurt, as you get a look at everybody else. The situation comes with Joakim Ryan, who is bouncing between an 80 and an 81. He has decent potential because of the high AHL top 2. My question is, do we make room to keep him, or do we trade him? Because I really think we would lose him on waivers. So I'm not sure what we should do. We could potentially trade Andrei Markov, who is a -8, the only minus defenseman. We could trade him, maybe even trade him and Ryan to get a third pairing left-handed defenseman, as of course we'd want Sergachev and Jacob Larson as the first and second pairing defenseman. That was my other main question to you. The goaltending, Carey Price, still playing like Carey Price, a .933 save percentage so far. Brian Elliott at a .907, not particularly ideal, but overall he's only had to play in 14 games. We'll quickly look, easy for me to say, we will quickly look at the AHL level, we'll look at the NHL in general, and that'll do it for this one. But Vehvilainen, up to a 78. Much better progression from him than we've seen in that Bruins series, and he's having a pretty good year. Stan Gorodov not doing too well. Defensively, of course, we don't have any big-time defensive prospects, but you get a look at the stats there. It's been a little bit of a rough year in Chicago. Teemu Pulkkinen, who we managed to sneak through waivers, is having a pretty good year. Nastasiuk, surprisingly, considering his player type, is doing pretty well for himself. I'll call 15 points in 15 games in the AHL. I think he's a little bit too good to be in Chicago. He needs to be with the main club. But let's take a look. Throughout the entire NHL, it is Sidney Crosby in the lead with 50. Jesus, he's up to a 97. My God, 55 points for him. Carlson's up to a 95. God damn. Mitch Marner right up there in scoring, an 88 for the New York Rangers. And I wish Brad Marchand would do that for us, whatever. In the Bruins series, goalies, I really don't even care. Rookie skaters, though, is something I do care about. And let's take a look. Jeremy Bracco is pretty much running away with it. Nikolai Goldobin not too far off. But Jeremy Bracco is running away with the Calder race. So guys, as we wrap this episode up, remember, what do we do to get Dal Coll into the lineup? Do we trade Kunitz, Marleau, or both? And to get Joakim Ryan, or what do we do with Joakim Ryan in general? I want to know. But overall, a good start to this season, but we're only halfway done. And anything can happen, especially if we are looking at making changes. As always, guys, if you have enjoyed this episode, make sure to hit that like button to help support my channel. Subscribe if you haven't already to continue following this series and others. And I will see you guys in the next one.